Okay, you guys, so let's get into this debate. So Cardi B just dropped her new single, Imaginary Players, and yes, the song is fire. I love it. But there's one line that has the Barbs and the Barty gang going at each other's throats. Now on the track, Cardi raps about being the first female rapper to cover Vogue. And that simple statement right there started a whole debate. So yesterday, Armand Wiggins was on his show and he pointed out how basically Cardi was lying.
The first female rapper to grace the cover of U.S. Vogue was Cardi B. She appeared on the cover of the magazine's January 2020 issue, while Nicki was the first female rapper to appear on any Vogue cover. Vogue Arabia's September 2018 issue. You see, there's a difference in words. Cardi B was the first to cover U.S. Vogue. Nicki was the first to cover any Vogue. So however you want to interpret that, the way that I interpret that is, Nicki Minaj was the first female rapper to cover a Vogue.
Now, y'all know that started a back and forth. Now, I want to break this down as to why Cardi said she was the first woman to cover Vogue. I think it was wordplay, but I get what she was trying to say. Now, let's be clear. Nicki was the first female rapper to cover Vogue, technically. She covered Vogue Arabia in 2018 and Vogue Japan in 2019. Now, both are beautiful covers, no shade there. Nicki did her big one, but this is why Cardi said she was the first female rapper to cover Vogue. So in January of 2020, she did make history when she became the first female rapper to grace the cover of US Vogue. But here's where the confusion comes in. All Vogue editions are not created equal by far. That's just not how it works. So there are 29 Vogue editions worldwide. That's US Vogue plus 28 international editions. Now, in the fashion world, there's what insiders call the Big Four, which are the 4 top Vogue editions. So at number 1, you have US Vogue, okay? They are at the top. Then you have Vogue Paris, Vogue Italia, and Vogue UK, all fighting for second place. You get what I'm saying? US Vogue is the queen with no competition. The New York Times literally call US Vogue the fashion Bible, okay? Keyword the. Now, US Vogue reaches 11 million readers domestically and 12.5 million internationally. Now, when people in the industry talk about making it, they're talking about US Vogue, okay? US Vogue is the holy grail. That is the cover that everyone wants to make. So when US Vogue chooses you to be on their magazine cover, it's not just a magazine feature, it is the moment. So covering international editions is way different than covering the US edition. That's like winning a regional championship versus the Super Bowl. Like, you still won, you still accomplished something, but it's not the Super Bowl. Now, to be fair, out of those 29 Vogue editions worldwide, Nicki's covers do rank. Now, Vogue Japan sits at about number 5 or 6, which is still pretty good. I'll give you that. And Vogue Arabia is still new. Now, it launched in 2017, so it's only been around for about 8 years. So fashion insiders would probably rank it somewhere on the low end, maybe number 25 out of those 29 editions, because it is a new edition. So what Cardi said on the track when she rapped about being the first female rapper to cover Vogue, she wasn't saying that because it's a lie. It's because when people say Vogue, they mean US Vogue. It's like saying you're performing in Madison Square Garden. Nobody assumes you mean the one in New York. You just know it's the Madison Square Garden. And the fact that US Vogue has been around for 127 years and had never put a female rapper on the cover until Cardi is why she said what she said. Now, I'm not here to pit these two ladies against each other. I'm just stating facts because, let's be real, they are both legends in their own right, especially Nicki Minaj. And Nicki's international Vogue covers were beautiful and very important for representation globally for us. But I think the issue is the wordplay. People don't understand when someone says Vogue, they're referring to US Vogue. Now, at the end of the day, both women have their flowers and their accolades. We have to give flowers to Nicki because she technically was the first female rapper to cover Vogue. But when someone thinks of the first female rapper to cover Vogue, they're going to always look at the US Vogue cover because of the fact that US Vogue is the Vogue magazine. But I want to know, what do you guys feel about this? Do you feel like people are being extra about this whole situation? Y'all let me know what you think in the comments. Moving on to the next story. Okay, you guys, so the internet has been going back and forward for the past week and a half with this debate about who is the greatest artist of all time, Michael Jackson or Beyonce. Now, this whole thing got started again because Beyonce's Cowboy Carter tour ended and people started asking if she's officially surpassed Michael Jackson. Now, TikTok was the messy platform that really got all of this started. Now people were debating their performances, their chart statuses, and their cultural impact. And let me tell you, both sides are coming with really good receipts. Now, some people feel like Beyonce is the greatest because they're talking about Beyonce's vocal range being unmatched, her ability to consistently reinvent herself across multiple decades, and how she's been consistently dropping quality music for over 20 years now. She currently holds the record for receiving 103 certifications. This is the most by any female artist, and holds the record for winning the most Grammy Awards in a lifetime with 32 wins. She sold 355 million records worldwide, not to mention every album that she has dropped during her solo career has debuted at #1, and Billboard also named her the greatest pop star of the 21st century in 2024. Now, Michael Jackson's fans are saying that he is untouchable, and honestly, they got some solid points. Now, this man literally broke barriers, okay? This man had people fainting at concerts, y'all, like it was nothing. Now, he consistently dropped quality music and hits for 40 years. He sold over 500 million records worldwide, and Thriller is still the best-selling album of all time decades later, okay? Still on top. And Thriller is the only album to ever achieve 33 times diamond status. Again, no other artist has ever been able to do that till this day. Now, he is also the most awarded recording artist in the history of popular music, and most successful entertainer of all time by Guinness World Records. Now, MJ fans are pointing out that MJ's impact is something that we never seen before and we will never see again. Now, I have to be real. I love Beyonce. I'm not a Beehiver, but I am a fan. I grew up with Beyonce. Beyonce is a big part of my childhood, and we are both from the same city. So Beyonce is my girl. But Michael Jackson was just something different. Now, I grew up in the 90s, so I got to experience some of who he was. And let me tell you something, even as a little girl, I could see the impact that he had was like nothing else. So if I had to choose who is the greatest artist of all time, I would choose Michael Jackson. I mean, don't get me wrong, Beyonce is that girl and will forever be that girl. But if I had to choose, Michael would be #1. But I want to know, who do you guys feel is the greatest of all time? Do you think it's Michael Jackson or do you think it's Beyonce? Y'all let me know what you think in the comments below. But that's all I have for you, and I'll talk to you later.
Beyonce's bigger than Michael Jackson. I know I'm going to get eaten alive for saying this, but I don't care. Beyonce's bigger than Michael Jackson. I'm not in the hive. I'm not a stan. I probably, if I had to pick whose music I preferred, I don't know. I might pick Michael Jackson one day. I might pick Beyonce another day. Probably over the career, it's probably Michael Jackson's. But there's just no conversation here. We have got to stop pretending that our personal taste is an objective truth, because it isn't. Some of you are ruled by nostalgia. Some of you are ruled by recency bias. Some people are ruled by culture and race and gender and all other kind of things and all other vibes. I am too. We all are. That's called taste. That's our personal taste. But we can be honest about these things. Look, Ray, Beyonce is 43 years old. At the big age of 43, Michael Jackson has by now put out Invincible. Nobody is going to see him in concert because of Invincible. I'm sorry, you're not. By that point in his life, he's living off legacy. He's living off legacy. If you're going to see Beyonce now, it's because of Cowboy Carter. If you were going a couple years ago, it's because of Renaissance. People are waiting to see what she does next. Who at that big age has been doing that? Nobody. Even the people that we love, even the greats, they're still doing tours and people are looking at the legacy. Yeah, play something off the new track, off the new album, but I'm ready to hear the stuff from before. There's no nostalgia bait here. She is active in her dominance. She's always in her prime. She's in her prime now, but when has she not been? Her lowest period is probably Destiny's Child, which is, I'm making a point there because that's a pretty big period. People want to tell you, oh, Michael Jackson was worldwide. I'm sorry. Beyonce is known across the world in a way more oversaturated market, in a time where fame is way more fragmented and split across millions of platforms. Everybody engages with media in much different ways. You had to be forced things before. You only had one place to go. It was the TV or the radio. Michael absolutely had a tighter monopoly. And Thriller changed the game, but that was a different game with different rules. And I'm sorry, but it was easier. Much easier to stand out. I'm sorry, but Beyonce is the moment. Beyonce is like, she's bigger and broader and more influential in a far noisier, harder and faster ecosystem. There's no debate here. And I don't even care. I don't even really like either of them that much. I like them, they're good enough, but that's not what I'm listening to. Like, respectfully, the conversation has been done.
So I'm seeing this debate, Michael or Beyonce? Who is the bigger superstar? And the fact that we're having this conversation is kind of crazy, because I don't know if it's because everybody on this app is kind of young, or because it's been so long since Michael Jackson has been on this earth that we're even having this conversation. Michael was the biggest superstar that ever was on this planet and ever will be on this planet. I love Beyonce down. I do. I love her so much. But I think we're losing the ancient text here, guys. I really do. I think that Beyonce has achieved a lot of things in her career, and much more than Michael in a lot of areas, right? The fact that Beyonce is still going into her 40s and people are still anticipating what she's going to do next. She's still dropping albums. She's still going on tour. She's still influencing the industry. She's still influencing fashion. She's still considered one of the most beautiful people on the planet. Even with all of that, I don't think that she beats Michael. And this is why. When we're talking about Beyonce and we're talking about her fan base, we're talking about mostly women and gay men. And the reason is because Beyonce mostly sings about, and her content, her music is mostly about being a strong, independent woman. Like, that's what she does. You got Single Ladies, Irreplaceable, Me, Myself, and I. Who run the world? Girls. Right? And so as a result, the people that follow her are people who date men or are independent women. The people that listen to her music relate to that. She doesn't go for everybody. And I'm not saying that none of her music is relatable to everybody. I'm not saying that straight men or other people outside of this demographic cannot like Beyonce. But what I'm saying is that her main demographic, her main fan base, the people that are buying the tickets, the people that are listening to her albums, are women and gay men. Michael Jackson was for everybody. He didn't make music specifically about being a straight man, right? Michael Jackson, his music reached old people, young people, black people, white people, women, men, gay, straight. It did not matter. Everybody could listen to a Michael Jackson song. You're talking about Billie Jean or Smooth Criminal, Thriller, Beat It, Black or White. And I don't know, he just had so many songs that were just storytelling. Because of that reason, Michael was the bigger superstar. He could reach everybody all over the planet, whereas Beyonce has a very niche demographic. That's the only reason I would say that Michael is the bigger star. If Beyonce was a man, I think we'd be having a different conversation.
The only thing that I have to add to this Beyonce versus Michael Jackson debate, because it's not really a debate, because obviously they're both amazing and history makers and everything else. The only thing I have to say is I think some of y'all missed the most important thing Jamal said, or at least the most interesting thing to me that Jamal said, which is Beyonce is 43 years old and just wrapped her Cowboy Carter tour. Mind you, the highest grossing country tour of all time. $400 million in 32 shows. That tour was comprised mostly of Cowboy Carter music. We all paid our money. We all dressed up as cowboys because we were excited for her current album. That is mostly unheard of for an artist at 43, including Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson at 43 put out Invincible, an album, by the way, that I loved. I loved Invincible. But as Jamal said in his video, if you were going to see Michael Jackson go on tour at the age of 43, you were expecting mostly his hits. And not just mostly his hits from the 80s and 90s. Like mostly his hits from decades ago. He was very much a legacy artist by that point. And by the way, he didn't even attempt to tour Invincible. Okay, so that is something that I think is interesting because there are so few artists who are doing and who have done what Beyonce has done, which is continue to push forward and push music forward and innovate in music at this age. Look at her peers. And I'm using that word very lightly. Look at her peers. J-Lo had to cancel a tour because she originally billed it as a tour tied to her most recent album that nobody cared about. She had to revamp it so that people would believe it's going to be a greatest hits tour. Look at Justin Timberlake. Did he sing songs from his most recent album? Yes. But was it very much a greatest hits tour? Yes, it was. That is what her peers are doing because that is what is expected of them because they are now at an age where people are considering them to be more legacy. Look at Backstreet Boys. That is interesting to me because to act like there are other people at Beyonce's age doing what she's doing in such a contemporary way, still considered a contemporary, is nonsense. That's silly.